What's going on, Bessie gang? Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Black Bessie Media, and everyone else, thank you for joining and watching. Today we're going to be working on Pops' R3. We're going to be doing an oil change on the R3. He finally got, I don't even know how many miles it is, 3,500, 3,000 miles on his brand new R3. So we're going to be doing the first oil change service on it. Along with that, he had got some GB Racing engine covers because we're getting this bike ready and my Pop's ready for the track. So today I'm going to show you in this episode how to change your oil, and also while changing the oil, because it's the best time to do it, we're going to put the racing covers on the engine to protect the engine if a spill were to happen. So stay tuned. I'm going to go over the simple steps on how to change oil. It's pretty simple for most bikes, but I'm just going to show you how to do it on the 21 R3. And then I'll also show you how to install the GB Racing engine covers on the R3. Both of them are simple processes. I would say beginner to intermediate mechanic level stuff. But let's stop talking. Let's jump into it. Okay, so I jumped the gun just a little bit and already drained the oil. The oil drain is on the left-hand side at the front of the oil pan here. It takes a 12 mil bolt that goes in there. It's got a little copper or soft metal washer so you can make a good seating with it. Don't need to use any gaskets or gasket maker to seal the drain plug back on. Just make sure that you snug it back tight. So of course, that's the first step. We're gonna drain it there from the drain plug that I just showed you guys. And then when we do go to fill this bike, the fill is on the right-hand side of the bike. It's got a nice little window Yamaha put here for you to just take the cap right off with your hands, fill it up with oil, put the cap back on, and you're good to go. And of course, you got your view window here. So once we start putting the oil back in, we can make sure that we're putting in the correct level. But anyways, like I said, we got the oil draining. I'm gonna start working on getting these side panels off so I can show you guys how to install the GB Racing engine covers. Alright, so I don't know how well you can see what I was doing, but I have managed to get the left-hand side fairing off. This is my first time taking the fairings off my Pop's bike. I should have had him take these fairings off because he's done it before, but it was somewhat simple once I looked around. We got a bolt down here, we got a bolt up here, we got a bolt up here, and we had 4 or 5 bolts on the inside by the radiator here. We had to undo all of those, 3 push pins, and came right off. A little bit of finessing, a little bit of teeth grinding, worried about breaking stuff, but came off pretty easy. So I'm gonna repeat the same process on the other side. Hopefully it's similar, and then we'll get to installing these covers. Alright, so I managed to get both sides of the fairings off, and I got full accessibility to the covers here. I'm already kind of mocking up the covers and how they're going to go. I believe I'm going to have an issue with this radiator one because when I put the racing covers on my 07 Gixxer 600, it only covered 2 or 3 bolts on each item, so you could loosen it halfway, not break the seal or anything, and tighten everything back down. This one requires 3 of the bolts out of the 4 for the radiator, looks like the feed into the motor. So I don't know if I crack these bolts, if this is gonna hold and leak or what, but I'm gonna do this one last. Start with the clutch cover here and the stator rectifier cover on the other side. I'm just gonna go ahead, I'll probably time lapse this side and I'll do just normal speed on the other side. But let's get into it. Really simple process. Alright, so on the left hand side you can see we've got the cover here. It goes like this, and as you can see, like I mentioned, it only covers 1, 2, 3, 4 mounting points. Sorry. It only covers 4 mounting points out of the 8 or 10 bolts that are going around the entire cover. So I know that I can loosen those 4 bolts without breaking a seal, leaking oil or anything. It's not gonna leak oil because I haven't put oil back in it yet. But like I said, I know I can break that seal without having to, or loosen those bolts without breaking the seal. This is the stator cover side. It's got the little bolt here to ventilate the stator if you need to, blah, blah, blah. But I'm gonna go ahead, set the camera down in a place where you guys can somewhat see what I'm doing. Grab my 8mm socket and loosen up the bolts I need to loosen and get this cover installed. And like I said, it's pretty much the same process, rinse and repeat for the other side. Figure out what bolts you need to take out, take them out. The kit comes with bolts for you to put in there that are just a couple threads longer, so you can keep getting the correct torque and not hurt the bolt at all. But let's go ahead and get to it. Alright, let's see here. I'm gonna go ahead and put these old bolts into a little baggie that I have, give them to my pops for him to put somewhere in his toolbox safe. So if he ever wants to revert this bike back to OEM, he has the option to do so very easily. And like I said, this is only taking out 4 bolts out of the, I'm gonna count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Taking out 4 out of the 9 bolts. This is not going to break the seal. Those other bolts are holding that seal very good. If there were to be oil in here, it would not leak. Promise you that. Did my Gixxer full of oil. Did not have one single problem, not a single drop. Quickly grabbing the 4 bolts provided by GB Racing inside their package here. They give a nice diagram of the covers and which bolts you need to take out for each of the covers they provide for your bike. Like I said, this is for the Yamaha R3. So I got my bolts here. Boom. Get them in, hand started a little bit. All the bolts are the same length, so there's no trying to figure out if one goes in another spot or not. I'll get these all hand tight, and then I'm gonna come back around with the wrench and get them good and tight, as us Germans say. We'll go ahead and secure this in a star-like pattern. Okay, so I had lied. The left-hand side, the bolts, OEM, all the same size. Aftermarket, the way that they make this cover, this bolt here for this back top right is about 3-4 mils longer than the others. You need to make sure that that is the bolt that goes in that hole there, or will not catch the threads. So now that we're past that, come back. Like I said, in a star pattern, I'm going to snug these up. Nothing crazy, nothing insane. These bolts on these bikes don't take tons of torque, especially for these covers. And you should be doing bolt checks on your bike every 2 or 3 rides anyways, because no motorcycles, or I don't want to say no, but most motorcycles don't have motor mounts to prevent the vibrations from vibrating these bolts out. Alright, that's the left hand side cover. We're going to go ahead, rinse and repeat this process on the other side. This is everything that's going to come in the right hand side for the clutch case cover. You got the cover itself, you got the directions, and you got 4 bolts to replace the 4 bolts that are OEM. These ones are slight bit longer to make up for the gap that the cover has. So you can ensure that you still get a good bond to the bike with the secures. Let's see here, just this angle, boom. Alright, let's see what bolts we gotta remove on this side. Cover is gonna go something like that. Alright, so this looks like it's gonna be a problem because I have to remove both the bolts for this bracket. And then I'll have to hold the bracket down when I'm putting them back in. That's freaking awesome. Maybe I don't even know. So this one down here, these 2 up here, and then this one on the right hand side that's also holding the wire guide. Let's go. Alright, and for the last cover we have here the radiator feed into the engine. And like I said, this one's going to worry me because we're going to do 3 of the bolts out of the 4. I'm worried that if I crack these 3, the radiator fluid's going to start leaking everywhere. And I don't have radiator fluid to put back in here. But I don't want to put the fairings back on. I have to take the fairings back off just to put this one back on. So we're going to do it anyways. Let's see how this goes. You guys will be here to witness it.